Welcome back, 6th graders. Today we're going to be looking at adding and subtracting fractions. By the end of this lesson, you want to be able to accurately add and subtract fractions. When we're talking about fractions, we're really talking about two different types. We have like fractions and unlike fractions. Like fractions are fractions with the same denominator. And unlike fractions are fractions with a different denominator. And the reason that we use that is because when we are adding and subtracting, we want to make sure that we have like fractions. So for example, if I have 1/5 plus 3/5, that's the same thing. That's basically saying that those are like fractions because each of them is parts of 5. So we're looking at fifths. So if I have 1/5 and I add 3/5 to it, I now have a total of 4/5. Or if we look at my drawing, if I start with 1/5 and then I come and I add 3 more fifths, I now have 4 out of the 5 colored. Alright, what about 3/4 plus 3/4? Here's my first diagram. So I have 3/4 of it colored. Now the problem is when I go to add the next 3/4, I have 1/4 here. So really I need another whole. And I'm going to color 2 more to make it 3/4. So here I have 3/4. Here I have 3/4. So I have a total of 6/4. Or if we look at another way, I have 1 and an additional half colored in. Now what about 7/8 minus 5/8? Okay, so if I start with 7/8 colored, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but I take away the coloring on 5 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I now only have 2/8 covered, or because 2 goes into both of those, that's the same thing as 1/4. This morning it took me 1/6 of an hour to do my hair and 1/3 of an hour to get Josh ready. What part of an hour did it take me to complete both of these tasks this morning? Why don't you go ahead and pause the video and try this one on your own. Okay. One way we could look at this is if you think about an hour is 60 minutes. So if I have 1/6 of an hour, I'm basically taking the 60 minutes and dividing into 6 parts. So 60 divided by 6 gives us 10 minutes. So 1/6 of an hour is equivalent to 10 minutes. So it took me 10 minutes to do my hair. If we're doing 1/3 of an hour, that's basically taking our 60 and dividing it by 3, which gives us 20, and since it's 1/3, that would be 20 minutes. So 1/3 is equal to 20 minutes. I want to know what part of an hour did it take me to complete both tasks. Well, it took me 10 minutes to do my hair plus 20 minutes to get Josh ready for a total of 30 minutes. So we have 30 minutes out of 60. Divide by 10, so we have 3 out of 6. Both are divisible by 3. So it took me half an hour. Now that's kind of a long way to do it. Really what we're looking for here when we're doing this is something called the least common denominator, or the LCD. The LCD is the smallest, or is the least common multiple of the denominators in 2 or more fractions. So another way, going back to the previous problem, is I'm taking 1/6 plus 1/3. So if I was looking for the least common denominator between 6 and 3, it would be 6. So 1/6 would stay the same, but 3 would become 6 as well because 3 multiplies into 6. by taking it times 2, which means I'd have to do the top times 2. So I'd have 2 6. 1 6 plus 2 6 is 3 6, which is 1/2. So in order to add or subtract fractions, you have to have a common denominator. So one way you can do this is to rewrite each fraction as its equivalent using the LCD, or the least common denominator. Then you're going to add or subtract the numerators, and then you're going to write the difference or the sum over the common denominator. And then just simplify if necessary. Why don't you go ahead and pause the video and try these two on your own, and then just see how you do. So if I have 9/10 plus 1/2, I'm looking at my denominators of 2 and 10. What's a number that both 2 and 10 multiply into? Hopefully you said 10. So 9/10 would stay 9/10 because I don't have to change the denominator. 1/2, well, would become 2 times 5 to get 10, which means I do 1 times 5, so it would be 5/10. Now the denominator stays the same. 9 plus 5 is 14, so it would be 14/10, or 1 and 4/10, because 10 goes into 14 once, so 4 left over, which is also 1 and 2/5 because 2 goes into 4 and into 10. With 3/4 minus 1/6, once again you're going to be looking for a common denominator. In this case I'm going to use 12. 24 would also use because could be used because that's a common multiple, but usually we want to try and find the least common multiple. 4 times 3 is 12, 3 times 3 is 9, 6 times 2 is 12, 1 times 2 is 2. Now I'm going to do 9/12 minus 2/12, which gives us 7/12.